Okay, so I have some handouts because my secretary went to Cancun, left my 80-year-old self there to make handouts, so I did it the old-fashioned way. Alright, I got it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Went back from the mayor.
Oh, I bet I have that in my purse. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
That's all right, I'll keep this one. Excellent. Okay. Thank you for the opportunity to present what we have revamped our proposal for from, do I need to hit this or do you? Good. Originally, when we first started talking about these, we thought, well, we like option number one as an opportunity to build an existing space at the location with a two-story. Then as we began to look at what some of our requirements for, we ooched over to option number two, especially since it would cause about a $7 million reduction in the bond proposal. So we're proposing for our option number two, which is just build an addition to the existing building. So if you look at the second page, you'll see after our subsequent meeting with the bond people, they took option two from $15 million down to 11. I don't know how they did that, but that was the cost they gave us for renovating a building. For option number two, it saved like $4 million. So I think when you go to the third page, you'll get into really what I consider the nuts and bolts of our proposal. So I took the existing Military History Center building and I did a square foot analysis of all the space that we had. I measured the bathrooms, I measured the veterans, I measured the two display halls, and I even measured out the basement, which is full of artifacts also that aren't that we can't that don't have to be sustained in the upstore storage. Anyway, if you look at the third page, you'll see that I come up with 3,351 square foot of non-display space. And that's measuring the storage room, the basement, the offices, the bathrooms, et cetera, et cetera. So then I went and measured how many space we actually display without taking into consideration the halls, which if you've been, David, you remember everything on the halls is display space too. And I come up with 3,052 square foot of display area. So on the fourth page, I take the non-display area of 4,611 square foot. I put the current display space of 33,000, and I subtract all that from what the proposed space would be, and you see I only get a net gain of 637 square foot. So if we built a new building, basically tore down the existing thing, took all the display and storage requirements that I have and put it in a new building, I'd only have 637 square foot of space. So the ideal situation for us is leave us in the building that we are, pump the basement full of concrete, I don't care. Let us take the front of our building and make it you could take it and make some retail space there, or basically we would put the VAs up in the front, use the rest of the building for storage and offices, and then I would have basically an 8,300 square foot building of display for the museum artifacts. The library is going to grow exponentially. It's already got about 6,500 volumes. If you look 4 or 5 years, it's going to have 12,000 volumes. It's going to have more room. Every day, people bring in more and more artifacts. So we're at the point of saying, okay, we don't have any room. We can't take your artifacts. We can't take your husband's uniforms or your World War II display items that we want to take and eventually rotate through because we don't have any space to store them. So for us, the ideal solution is, okay, leave us right there where we are, just build a building annex, and that's strictly be display, and for logistics, storage, the VA offices, and save the money that you would use to tear down that existing building. Let us operate out of that. So somebody asked about attendance at one time. So I ran up some figures from January 2024 to June 2025. We've had over 3,300, almost 3,400 visitors to the museum. So I didn't break that down by month, but certainly we get more visitors in the summer than we do in the winter. So we're looking at basically 3,400 visitors that basically visit the museum and also visit Main Street, many of whom go down the street to eat, to whatever, spa at our new spa right next door to us. So essentially, that's our proposal. And I know you have questions, so
Anyone?
no questions, good.
Yeah.
Well, I don't really have a question. I guess I know that you're leaning towards your option 2, but I just really feel like the best place for you would be down where our Veterans Center is and where the memorial is. And it looks like, I'm not quite sure, is this 2 different, like 5,500 square foot on each side of is that what this proposal is, option 3?
Option 3 is kind of ambiguous, but at least I'll answer your questions. You move us down there, you kill us as a museum in terms of foot traffic. Now you're going to, or I've heard, well, you're going to get the traffic that's going to visit at the park. That's okay, except where does that traffic come in January, February, November, December, and March? There's no visit down there. For foot traffic or people that come to our museum because they're visiting Rose District, that's not going to happen in that location. They're going to have to want to come down to that location just to visit us. Then they're going to have to deal with the parking situation. For instance, if you're going south on Main Street to get to our museum on that side, you're going to have to turn around, come in, back in the parking in front, depending on if you park on the street. Well, you could park across the street, but if you want to walk your kids across the street to visit our museum, in a sense, having a location that has all the veteran services in a sense together, yeah, that could make sense. But it doesn't make sense for our museum because we depend on traffic that we get from the Rose District to visit, and we in turn put traffic back into the Rose District. You're not going to get that if we move down the street.
What about the traffic coming from the constant community center events? Like parents dropping their kids off for practice and going over, and that you wouldn't get on your end, which is like daily.
I don't know how much traffic we get from them.
Yeah.
I mean, if I know where you're coming from. It comes from the idea that Broken Arrow would benefit from saying that we've got all our veteran services in one location. That makes a good PowerPoint. But for our museum, it doesn't. I think it detracts from our ability to bring people to Broken Arrow we're the number 2. If you look on Travelocity, our museum is the number 2. Guess what the number 1 is?
Well,
It's the park out on 101st Street.
Right here.
Yeah, according to their evaluations, however they do it, the number 1 attraction Broken Arrow is the park out on 101st Street. The Military History Center is number 2.
If you take your parking away, and I serve on this board, so obviously we talk about it all the time. I'm just putting this out there. If you take your parking away and build a building on top of your parking, where's your parking going?
So there's 20 parking spaces out to our museum. Okay, if you build a building to the end of our museum, we're going to gain back 6 more spots that will be at the end of the building. So we're going to lose basically 14 parking spots. 4 of those spots today are occupied every day by employees of the biscuit place.
Yeah.
So you might say, well, you're not really getting any benefit out of those parking spots anyway. Those people need to go park in their own parking lot.
Yeah.
Parking is an issue. I can say, okay, but for some reason, people find parking an issue all along the Rose District, and they find a way to get around it. And my solution is for you to buy that lot behind the biscuit place and build you a 2-story parking garage.
Well,
There you go.
There you go.
I can
mean,
see
it's-
you're very passionate about what you do, and we appreciate that. And the Military History Museum is a tremendous benefit to Broken Arrow and to our tourism and to the citizens who live here, and to continue to educate folks about our history. That is very important. I just want to also throw out there, not saying which way we're going to go or anything, because all things are still on the table right now, but as Broken Arrow continues to grow, I know part of our vision is to continue to see the Rose District grow as well. And there have been some communications about continuing to expand the Rose District further south. And see, there's a lot of places right now that are for sale and looking for a new life down that way. So what you see currently is not what's always going to be on that south end of Main Street. So with time, things will continue to change.
You know, General, this council really works hard and has a love for our veterans. You know what I mean, as well as you know. I just want to see it continue existing. I think that it would be better. I look at where the community center, where the area where our veterans park is at now, as being the center nearly of the Rose District 10 years down the road. I think things, and I know things are going to be changing, as Justin has said, to the south. We already have plans on it changing. I think to have the two veterans areas, at least in the same area, would certainly behoove both groups, because it would help people that were coming in to visit the Veterans Park, which I consider the center of it. It would make it where they could visit at the Veterans Center or at the History Museum. I don't particularly I don't know this third option. It has two buildings. I presume that's supposed to be, two buildings would be the new center, is that correct?
I don't know. I never considered the third option because I never considered that we would go there.
Well,
So I didn't really pay much attention to it.
I don't think that I don't like that, the two options, the two there, but I do think there's areas there in that vicinity that would make for not only a larger center to demonstrate and show the history that you guys have, along with extending the parking in that area. So I think that can be accomplished there, have a tremendous amount of parking if we do move it to the south, move it close to the Veterans Park, which is to me, it's a holy ground. It's an extension of the Arlington, as far as I'm concerned, as far as in a monument. And it's our Arlington, if you will. I think to have that in that same area, and I'm talking about close to the area, not on the same grounds, but close to it, that it would make the veterans, make the History Museum more visible to the community, the people in the community.
Johnny, I don't disagree, except there's no more visible spot for it than where it sits right today. It anchors the Rose District on the north. You got a museum on the south. Move them down there. I mean, we are so indebted into our position that we are right now. It's hard to think that relocating us south of the railroad tracks, that in your vision of Broken Arrow in 10 years, in which I'll be dead, is going to be really the great location for the Military History Center. Currently, the best location of the Military History Center is where it sits. And if in fact we get on a bond issue, the best thing for us to do is extend our building right there. Build a new building right there and tear our building down. That was the original proposal.
Yeah.
Then, although we've said great things about support for the Military History Center, all we have to do is read the proposal for number 3, which says that tearing our building down allows you to get more retail space. Yeah, it would, but you have to weigh off the value of what a museum gives to the community versus the ability to get more retail space. And I think the Military History Center for Broken Arrow brings a lot more than what you gain out of a few more retail shops on Main Street.
Well, let me say this, General, the council's had no discussions about not going there and doing more retail. There's never been a discussion.
Oh, I just looked at it on the page. I know that you guys haven't done that. I was just reading what it says right here. Allows for adaptive revenue of the existing spots, which would be my thought.
Reuse.
If our building was gone, I would think you'd probably want to put some retail spots there. But I think that, and I know what you're saying, Johnny, and I can see how in a long-term view, this idea that, first of all, we don't get visitors from the Veterans Center. People don't go to the Veterans Center to visit the museum. They go in there to whatever they do because they have 5 different organizations that offer services to just them. And I have not considered the idea that we'd be getting visitors from the senior center.
Yeah.
I don't know how many we get from there. I don't know how many we get.
I'm looking at the people that would visit, and I'm hoping that encourage people to do that, to go to our Veterans Park, you know what I mean, itself, and not the center. I don't know the center would have a play, but I think to have both of these military organizations centered around the place where we've honored those that have died in the line of duty and for our country. I mean, we really honor them. And to think that we would want it moved so that there'd be more retail place. We've got a lot of retail places, you know what I mean, along Main Street. That never entered anywhere into my mind. It's just that coming in and spending $8, $10, $12 million for this, I just think it being located in the veterans area would certainly need us to at least look at that and see what we thought. There's a large piece of property just to the south, across the street, that would make a lot of parking and make for a nice place for your artifacts, which are extremely important. And I want the people. Anytime I speak to a youth group, I talk to them about visiting Veterans Park, about visiting the Military History Museum. I don't want them to forget the cost of what our freedom is. And I just think having it located there would benefit us as far as getting people to travel into it and benefit you. I don't think it would hurt you. I'm just not sure the downtown area is the best place, isolated kind of, is the best place for the History Museum. Now, I'm not saying I've made up my mind. I'm just leaning toward, I think it would be better if it was next to the park where we've honored those who have died.
I can't argue with any of that.
And this is the
my
time.
question is, who makes the decision? Does city council make the decision on which items go on this board thing,
Ultimately.
ultimately? Okay.
But
Just
without-
curious how that worked.
But we get public input
Yeah,
beforehand.
we'll have public, where
This
they'll
whole
come
year.
and make notes on,
But based on these proposals, unless we come up with something different, because the original location that I was pitched was between the Veterans Park and the Veterans Center. There's a little space of land out there that
No,
you,
I already said that option 3, I wouldn't be in favor of at
well,
all.
see, that's
That
the only,
splits up.
that's the only site that I've ever been pointed out would say,
Well,
no
but-
one had ever talked about
there's-
being across the street or
But
anything.
there's other sites, and I'm not saying that we can get that site across the street. I'm just saying that's what I'm talking about, is a site like that one across the street to add additional parking, and it'd still be city parking. So, even if they went to the Veterans Center, they could still go over there and park and walk over to the Veterans Center. But you'd have all the veterans in one area. I don't agree with option 3, that split up the building. I think that hurts it tremendously. But a standalone building on a large lot with a big parking area, I think would be beneficial to you if in that area around our Veterans Park.
2-story building?
it would make it 3-story. I'm not talking about the story. I'm just talking, I would like to see it, I would like to
I'm
see
just
it,
looking at some costs here, you
I would
know?
like to see it next to well, we might build a story every 10 years.
Yeah,
But I would like to see it in the Veterans Park area. That's my only point that I'd like to make. Now, they've already asked to add on to their building, the Veterans
Yeah.
Center, to add on to their building,
Which would be in that one
which-
space. It would be-
because there's more people, people coming. I just can't believe that veterans that come to visit that often wouldn't find it more accommodating to go over and visit, you know what I mean, with the history of our
so
battles
Johnny,
that
it
we
sounds to
fought.
me like that you want us to bring visitors to the park. So I'm assuming then that we'd get some money for advertising to help advertise our building to support the park.
Whatever it takes to get you down there, I'd like to see it.
Yeah, I mean, I see that.
No, we're just talking. This is all just talking. You know what I mean? I'm for one thing, using that for retail space never enters into a decision. We've got a lot of Main Street, all the way from 71st Street to 91st Street, that we can make commercial property. So that's not enter into it. What I'm looking at is strictly from the veterans' point. I think it would make our veterans community stronger to have it next to the Veterans Park, if we can get it there, next to Veterans Park, instead of the center of the Rose District.
Well, I just don't see how, I mean, I know what you're saying. I don't think that it detracts from the veterans coming to our location, that any more of them would come just because we're located next to the park. What you're assuming is that we're going to get park visitors. We get ex-visitors right now coming to our location because they know the museum's there, they have the VA people there. By simply moving them down the street, what you're saying is you think there's another X-plus group of people that we're going to get. I don't know. I don't know where they're going to come from. You say that you think they're going to come from the senior center. I don't know that.
So I hear you saying, you have people who want to come specifically to your military history museum. Do you think they're not going to come just because it's a few miles down the road? You think,
No, I
you
think
it's
that-
any less attractive?
No, I think the people that come because we advertise will come to that location. But the people that come that are on Main Street right now, Rose District, that because they have to park there to get down there, they walk past our museum and they say, hey, let's go in here. That's not going to happen down the street.
Just wait till you see what's coming.
I'm not going to be there, Curtis, Justin. I'm going to be dead. And I know the plans are to develop down that far. And then for Broken Arrow's sake, I hope that works. Got to get across the railroad track.
I used to live across the railroad
I
track.
know you did.
Well, we love your passion. I mean, we love your passion and we hear what you're saying. I just want you to know that we do hear you.
I appreciate that. I know you do. And I know you're going to do what's best for what you think the veterans are and what you think the museum is.
And I just want to encourage you as well, when we have the public hearings, encourage folks to come out and voice their opinions, and let's see, what the community.
Oh, I can get some, but I don't want to be voicing a contradictory opinion to what you guys want to,
But we want to,
we're not
hear the heart
stupid
of our
over there.
citizens as well. So.
Yeah.
Well, we just want you to look at the concept. You know what I mean? I don't like that, as I said, building two buildings there at all.
Yeah.
I'm talking about a separate, you know what I mean, huge
Yeah.
lot, parking, 2-story building, 1-story building, a story every 10 years. My thing is just to honor the veterans, and I think the History Museum really is great to help our youth learn about the past, just like we talked about with the regular History Museum.
Okay, I've exceeded my time.
Thank you. Thanks for coming.
Thank you, sir. You went.